you don't swear when you think you're speaking to someone that can change your life. You really behave. Think about it. I think some of the challenges that organizations have is at times they don't position themselves well enough to attract the best. And I say this because we all think, people are desperate for jobs. But the best people are usually not desperate. The best people are wanted. Companies want them. Their companies don't want to let go of them. And he was like, yo, that son, yo. I was like, what's happening? What's going on here? I just met you. Not your friend.
Right, welcome to the It's More Than Just Money movement channel. And as usual, we are on the winner's circle. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do us a favor. We've realized that a lot of people that watch our channel actually do not subscribe to the channel. So the best thing you can do is click on that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our upcoming interviews on the winner's circle. We've got a public speaking coach who is also a talent and HR expert that we're going to be chatting to today. And as usual, like I always say to you, grab a pen and paper so that you're able to write down some of the nuggets that she's going to be sharing with us today. And that person is none other than Palesa Dibakwane.
Yes, that's me.
What's your story?
Thank you for having me witness. First of all, thank you
for coming.
It's not my platform, it's yours. Thank you for making me get this opportunity to sit in front of your people. I appreciate it. You, I really appreciate it. Yeah, and my story. Wait, do you want the origin story or do you want the story?
Give me a story. It's up to you how you give it to me.
Yeah, no. So my story starts from a young age. I've been on stage. My first time that my parents tell me of is when I was 5, and since then, I've been on stage. I've had a coach before, which was in primary school for competitions that I used to win, right? I didn't start off winning. I started off with a C-, but with progress and someone teaching me, I became an A++. So A++ is a prestige award, meaning the best of the best of the best of the best on the day.
For public speaking?
Yes.
Wow.
So, and after you get that, you get addicted to winning that. Right? You're going to go again and you want to win the plus again. And it happened quite a few times. I think about 3 times where I got the prestige award, meaning they give you the award at the end of the ceremony where they say, today we want to just acknowledge someone. She hasn't received a certificate like everyone else. And this is why, because she delivered today. And then after that, obviously normal, went to university, studied. After getting my first job, I had a bit of an incident that caused for me to leave corporate. And leaving corporate, I then took my Provident Fund. You know, we all get that money. When you're young, you're very reckless with that money.
You kill it, eh? Chow all of it.
Exactly. But I was clever. I invested in going to TV presenting school instead. So I took that money, went to TV presenting school, started even a tent business. I mean, I was always...
How long had you worked at the time?
And a year. I just wanted to make sure I reached the 1-year mark, because we were also winning a prize at the end of the year. So I was like, I'm not letting go of my money. I'm not leaving my money. It was commission, a lot of commission. I'm going to stay in this company until we get the money, and then I'm out, unfortunately. It was an unfortunate hijacking, stuff like that. You can't stay. Your life is more important, right? And then I went for TV presenting training. It was an awesome school that I went to, and they taught me what I needed to know for what I wanted, because I've always wanted to be on TV. I mean, after being on stages, what's next? You're thinking I'm going to become Oprah Winfrey, Nolene Maholasan, or whoever, right? Someone like that. I mean, more the serious ladies. I didn't see myself as tiki, yeah. No. That's not who I am. I'm more the people that want to talk about serious things, like women empowerment. Talk to people like you, what you're doing, right? This is it. This is the kind of conversations I want to have. And that's what they taught me then at TV presenting school. I went for a few auditions here and there, but you know, when you are a child of God, and when I say when you are a child of God, meaning I'd been leading home cells for so long, it's just was very difficult to break into industry. So I ended up TV presenting in church, which was amazing. I think it was amazing, a great platform to learn, to exercise your skill, to give glory to God. You know, it was everything I needed at the time. And then after that, the journey began with more corporate, where I was now in talent. And in my talent space, I was focused on recruitment. So recruitment for finance professionals, which are chartered accountants. These are your CASAs, you know, I call them the bright kids of South Africa. They're the diamonds, right? And I found myself interviewing them on a daily basis. They were my bread and butter, meaning if I got one of them sold, I had made commission for myself. And that was when I was in
Sold as in if they get placed,
if they
get a job.
placed, 100%.
All right. Okay.
So I would call you and say, hey, I've got a CA here. He's hot stuff. He is just finished articles at this big 4 firm. He's gone international. And he says he wants to work for you, right? Because I'd get a wish list from this guy to say, who do you want to work for?
Yes.
And then you interview him. He gets the job, but you pay me for bringing the talent to you. So that's where the talent side came in. And then that was external recruitment. So when I say external recruitment, was more salesy. And then I moved on to internal recruitment. That would be now with the talent development side. And that's different, right? Where people are actually joining the organization that I work for. And then through that company, I then got promoted into HR. And I say promoted into because I didn't study HR, have no background in HR, but they saw something within me and the way I managed my talent to move across to the other side. Yeah. So that's the story. It's a long story, but we're here now as a public speaking coach as well. So public speaking coach on Saturdays. I have to say that because I'm in HR. People will be wondering, when are you doing this? I'm doing it on Saturdays as well as in the evenings. I coach people across the world. So when I say across the world, I have people in my class at the moment from Lesotho, Botswana, UK, wherever. And I train people then to be able to assert themselves in the corporate space and to take up space, to be confident. Yeah, that's my...
So when we were chatting earlier on, you said something like when you started school, you did everything in Afrikaans.
Yes.
All the way through high school.
Yes.
In varsity, something happened. So when you look at the journey in terms of you having learned in Afrikaans and then pivoting towards English, was that an easy transition? I mean, I'm hearing the fact that you obviously now a public speaking coach.
Yes.
But in public speaking, obviously, people are more comfortable with the language that they use on a daily basis,
100%.
right? So the language for you was Afrikaans. Now, all of a sudden, the language had to be English.
Yeah.
What was the transition there?
So the transition wasn't easy. I have friends that I can say when they think about those years, they used to laugh at me because, you know, varsity is a bit of we're still young. So people used to laugh at how I spoke and also how I would try and explain things to people. So when I'm trying to say to someone something in accounting, not knowing what word to use, it was a bit of a joke for them. And in that time, for me, I came to varsity with a very straight mindset. I'm here to get this degree and no matter what it takes. So I didn't mind being taught. I didn't mind sitting with people doing group studies instead of studying by myself and failing. I didn't want to be those study hard, fail softly kind of people. So I surrounded myself with people that would laugh at me a little bit, but help me. And that was more important. So it was a bit of a transition, but it didn't really hamper my confidence because I knew my story. And I think that's something, you know, when you think about it, a lot of people feel bad about the fact that they cannot speak English as well as another person. But what's your story? You grew up in Mpumalanga, Swati, and you didn't speak English at home. So obviously the transition is going to be hard. But if you know your story, why are you not confident in who you are anyway? Like just a side note about that.
Are you comfortable sharing with the audience what actually happened for you to transition from attending Afrikaans only classes?
It's rough. No, it's rough. It's rough in our generation. I say our generation because we're the generation that just came out of the non-apartheid generation. But we're still working in environments or schooling in environments where people didn't know that Black people belong in certain spaces, right? So when I got to university in my first 3-4 days, orientation was easy. Obviously, we were in res, we were protected. But I went into a class, and when I walked in, the prof or lecture guy said, sorry, I think you're in the wrong class, ma'am. And I was like, wow, I'm not going to go through this again. I've been
What do you mean again?
So meaning I grew up having to conform a lot, trying to fit in with obviously the predominant race in my class, which was white people. I always wanted to just fit in. So in a case like that, what I would have probably done in the past would have been like, nee prof, ek behoort hier, ek praat Afrikaans, I would have done that to show him that, this is where I belong, you are my people. But I felt like, it's just a war or a mentality I'm not willing to keep on arguing with. So I left and I said, let me go find myself English textbooks and go to the English class where I belong.
Awesome. So now you've got the unforgettable speakers.
Yes.
What was the journey from being in corporate and then realizing the gap that there are people that actually could be getting better jobs, but they're not because of how they speak?
Yeah.
There are people who could be getting better opportunities, but they can't present.
Yeah.
How did you identify that gap, and what has been the journey to building that into a business?
So identify that gap because I come across hundreds of CVs in a day.
How many people do you interview in a day? Or
so it would be 2 a day, and I can say we did a count for 2022 to 2023. It was 500.
You interviewed 500 people.
Yes.
How many of the people actually made it?
12%. That's where I saw the gap. Right? You're right. Like there was like specific statistics that led me to that. Oh, what's happening here?
So out of the 500 people, 12% would be 60 people.
Yes. Were offered.
60 people got jobs out of 500.
Exactly. And it's not because all of them were bad presenters. Obviously, some we lose along the way because another company offers them or whatever it may be. But that was enough to show me that there's a gap here. Because I always say there's nothing worse than looking at a brilliant CV and having an underwhelming conversation. I look at some people and feel like, I wish I can help you. I'm interviewing you, but I wish I can steer you and tell you what to say because this is not going the way, not from what I expected and what I saw on your CV. And that created the alarm bells. And also having friends that would ask me, can you help me prepare for my interview? Since I used to do that for my candidates that I used to sell in the external recruitment space. So for instance, if I met you today and I was like, okay, witness, the thing is, he's got a good CV, he's got good experience, but he doesn't know how to articulate his value. I'm going to have a session with you for an hour so that when you get into that company interview, you get the job because your recruiter helped you to speak well enough to get the job. So...
Oh, that's where the coaching started.
That's where the coaching started.
Find a candidate that you wanted to place somewhere.
Yes.
And then the candidate, because he couldn't articulate his coach him through that.
Exactly. And obviously at that time, I wouldn't have called it public speaking coaching. I was just coaching a person to get the job. And then at a later stage where I then sat with a lady that was doing business coaching for women, she asked me the question, what is it that you think you can monetize? And I was like, I've been doing this for free for too long.
So that's where the business came in for you to be able to now start monetizing your coaching skills.
Yes.
And then how do you integrate that talent acquisition, talent management skill and HR skill now into the public speaking coaching business?
Yeah, so I think that's where also you can look at where the TV presenting came in. So that was more, you can say, public speaking. Even though it's more for TV and cameras, it's public speaking. You're speaking on the stage at times with the camera rolling, but you're live, right? And that would be where you'd see the public speaking element come in. And then from my talent experience, I was able to make it a bit more public speaking coaching for professionals.
So you became specific now.
Very specific. I had to start niching it down because when I started my business, I used to say, oh, I'm doing public speaking coaching for people. Then people come and I'm like, no, this is not my kind of people that I was talking about.
I'm not looking for everyone.
I'm not looking for everyone.
So at first you put it out there and said, anyone wants to do public speaking,
Yes.
come, I'll help you.
Yes.
The quality of the people that you are getting.
Oh my goodness, that was not what I was looking for. Happy to help them, but I also found that some of them did not know what they wanted to use it for, and they were trying to figure that out along the way. And when you don't know where you're going to use it, it already becomes a challenge for me because then we can't make proper simulations. We can't practice for something. We're practicing for nothing. And it's easier to work with someone that says, hey, I've got to present in the boardroom to Exco. I stammer, I start shaking when they ask me questions. Then I know, okay, do that presentation for me, obviously making sure everything that's confidential is confidential. And then let's see, let this roll. I'm going to ask you questions, fire it up, use the techniques I've taught you. And that's where I have this great combination of doing it for people that are professionals, that have an environment where they're already speaking. Yeah.
Was the market big then when you looked at it as a business, or was it just a matter of I'm passionate about this, I've done this long enough, and I want to just help people be able to get their point across in terms of their value?
So I think the market is way bigger than you can imagine because it's not just professionals. It could be a person with a small business that also has this brilliant business idea but doesn't know how to go and pitch for funding. It's big. The space is so big because you read in percentages, they say 70% of people would rather be found dead than be found speaking in public. 70% is a lot of just people. They're just saying people. Now at least that gives me room to go and pick my people so that I can then operate and work with people that I know I can truly add value to, people I can relate to, because that's important for me as well. I find it hard to relate to if you're saying you're a performing artist that has to do theater. I'm thinking, wow, I know another coach that actually does that and she could help you, but that's not me.
So with you, how do you then, based on what you just said, help like the individuals that actually do come to you, whether it's professionals, whether it's people that want to do public speaking?
Yes.
How do you help them identify their style and their unique voice when it comes to their own personal journey when it comes to public speaking?
Yes, I like the word identify instead of find. I don't know, have you heard how many people say, find your voice?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
And I'm like, there's no...
You already have your voice. Why are you finding
Where are you looking for it?
I've heard that a lot.
Yes, and I was like, we're not finding anything. Your voice is within you. So for me, I think the biggest thing I want people to do when they meet me is to start seeing themselves. The biggest challenge people have is that they want to see Palesa and their aim and their target is Palesa. They want.
What do you mean by that?
They want to sound like Palesa. They don't want to sound like themselves. They want to sound like Nelson
Like
Mandela.
me wanting to sound like you.
Imagine.
I didn't do Afrikaans.
Not only that.
As an example. No, I'm just saying.
Yes.
You see, somebody like me, I didn't go to multiracial schools all my life.
Yes.
So obviously, I do not twang.
Oh, do I twang?
Yeah, you do. So obviously, I don't twang. So I can't meet you and then when I twang like you or speak like you.
I hear you.
It doesn't necessarily mean I can't get my point across.
Yes,
I can.
Exactly. So
I guess it goes back to what you were saying, identifying that unique voice. And what would be a person's unique voice? And you were telling us how you go about it.
So how I go about it, for instance, for me, is to say, record yourself. Listen to yourself. People say, hey, I don't like the sound of my own voice. No, I never even listen to my voice notes. I'm like, listen to them. Because so that you can erase this voice that you're hearing in your head, because that's not how you sound. And that's why you keep trying to aim for something that's not there.
What do you
Listen
mean?
to yourself, like yourself, accept yourself, and honor yourself. Meaning that when people hear your voice, they know it's you. And do you know it's you though? Or do you keep on feeling like, no man, there's a me that's not there? What do you mean? It's the you that's you. That's the you that's coming out of you. People feel like there's someone they need to reach for. And you can reach for someone in your intellect, in your articulation. And what I mean by articulation is how you put your point across, right? But it doesn't mean you need to reach for someone that's not you. Because who's that?
So you see, that brings me to my next question, because what you just said is quite important, right? What role then does emotional intelligence play in all of this? Because for you to be able to listen to your voice and hear it and understand it, there must be a certain level of emotional maturity and emotional intelligence to be able to accept first that voice and say, okay, I sound this way. So what role does it play, especially in becoming an effective public speaker? And how do you teach it? How do you teach people to actually find that maturity and be able to...
Yes. So we have a class in the course which is called confidence building.
Confidence building.
Confidence building is not a class that I even offer. My husband does it. He's a man. There's some kind of confidence men have that women, we sometimes, we're on and off. It depends on the time of the month. But really, men have some kind of stable confidence. So I've asked him to just take over that class. And in that class, what we do is we go back and let people figure it out for themselves that, where did I lose it? Because I promise you, there's no child that's born lacking it. Look at little children. Some of them, we're shocked at how confident they are. You ask them dance now, they're just like, what's going on? So when people start realizing that, okay, there's somewhere where I lost it, but I'm aware of it now. So when I speak to people, I'm not going to be defensive. When I speak to people, I'm not going to be paying attention to the feeling, because emotions are feelings. It's not necessarily reality. It's not a truth. It's not forever. And intelligence means you have something over the feeling, right? So you have an advantage over it because you know that this is a current state, but it's not my truth. I can overcome the bit of butterflies, whatever it is that I have. And that's what I teach them is awareness. Become aware of the moment when you stopped being that confident to you. And once you feel that person coming up, take a hold of it. Become smarter. Become smarter. That is emotional intelligence. Become smarter than the inner voice that's saying, oh my gosh, I'm so scared now. Oh my gosh, there are people watching me. What's that? That's an inner voice. No one's speaking and saying that out loud.
Actually, I've got a question that I thought about as you were speaking, which you just alluded to now during one of our short breaks. You spoke about the fact that people don't conversate in interviews, they perform. And I want you to go deep in terms of what you mean, because a lot of people go to interviews, but they're not themselves.
Yes.
Like when we go to an interview, I take myself off, I put myself on the side, I wear someone else, I get to the interview, I come back, I wear myself again. Like I can't come and be my authentic, raw self.
Yes, and that's because we think we know what people expect of us. I go into an interview and I'm saying, I think witness wants to see a Palesa that is put together, that speaks like this and like that. But that person had no expectation. You can actually be yourself. Yeah, they don't know who you are. They don't know you. They just saw a profile photo there with a nice suit and tie. What comes after that, they're open to it. There are many times where I've met people and I thought we're going to speak, and the next thing I can see the person struggling with the language. And I'm like, oh, didn't expect this, but this is who you are. And I'm okay with it. But it's because the person is going there with that mindset of, I think this person will think of me. I used to always say that's the one thing that steals even our joy in life, is thinking on behalf of other people. I can't think you're going to think of me because I don't know what you're going to think. I have no control over it anyway. So what's the use of putting on something that's not there? And the easiest way is, let me be myself, take it or leave it.
So because you started with talent acquisition first, and then went into HR and then public speaking, right? How has your experience in the two, talent and HR, shaped the way you do business when it comes to the public speaking? I mean, I'm sure somebody who already has an understanding of HR,
Yes.
already has an understanding of human beings, one way or another, because the psychology behind it, right? So how has that shaped the way you are doing your public speaking coaching business?
Yes, I think the way it's shaped it is I've seldomly coached any person that I haven't had a chat with. So when you join my group coaching, you don't join it unless you and I have had just a chat. I want to talk to you about your life. What's happening? How are the children? What did you eat for breakfast? Oh, I also like oats. Oh, that's so funny. Because I don't want to deal with an actor when we get to the speaking coaching realm. Because then I can't help you.
Going back to that question you're answering about
Right?
performance.
Yes, because then I can't help you. I can only help the real you. The one that has a life, the one that has insecurities, the one that also knows their strengths, the one that I can see, okay, the challenge here is that already when I'm just asking you questions, you're thinking you need to say things the certain way. You're not taking this as I'm just getting to know you. And then I have people that I've seen that that's exactly what they needed, is someone that just will look at them for who they are. So they come to the meeting with pajamas and I'm like, this is exactly how I wanted you to pitch. I wanted you to be as comfortable as possible so that when I coach you, I know who I'm really coaching. I'm not coaching the CEO and executive of a big 4 bank. I'm coaching Undombi with 4 kids that comes from Islalin.
So you saw me typing something.
Yes.
You sparked something, a quote by Warren Buffett.
Yes.
When he said he's one of the richest men in the world. And he said, public speaking is one of the best skills anyone can have if they want to grow in business or financially or otherwise.
Yes.
You know, and how important then is public speaking when it comes to one building a formidable career for themselves?
Sure. I think when we go to school and we start our careers, we're just learning theory, then we learn technical. But after that, there's no going up without speaking.
So we learn theory and technical. There's no going up, as in going up the ladder.
You can go nowhere.
The proverbial...
No way, you go nowhere. And even if you're there, you're going to keep feeling like you don't belong. You're going to be calling me because you're going to feel like this place is too tough for me. This seat is too hot.
But it's communication for everyone. And are we not then being hard on people that cannot communicate effectively?
Because you start speaking not just on your behalf when you're sitting at the top. You're speaking on behalf of a division of people that are under you. And if you cannot represent them well, they're always going to be the ones at the end foot of everything. You've heard, I don't know if your staff do this, but it's almost like you can throw them in the deep end if you don't represent the company well. Because you weren't able to set a boundary in a certain meeting, now they are running around, giving people water, wiping people's shoes because you weren't able to say, no, not my team. Because you were afraid in that boardroom. You weren't able to assert yourself. And people are aware of the fact that you're afraid, so they'll make you do all the things that they don't want to do.
Are they the same? Asserting myself and communicating effectively?
Because it comes with confidence. People that can't assert themselves usually don't have confidence in speaking. Because how do you speak when you're scared? You're gonna, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if my guys should be wiping the shoes. You're not sure. Oh, well, we are sure. And then it becomes, I constantly feel there's something between me and my managers there, and it's you. It's you. You're not taking up your space. You're not confident. And that's where the corporate bullying, toxicity. It's because certain people have mastered sitting at the table with their hands like this. Have you seen Elon Musk? And other people, because this person is sitting like this, feel they're going to sit like this.
So now I feel like sitting like this because my hands are like this, and you just said that. Now I feel like going, nah. I'm not getting left behind. So when you look at then career advancement based on what you've communicated, that public speaking is one of the most important skills anyone can have, right?
Yes.
Now getting to organizations, what strategies do you think, or do you use personally to identify and nurture high potential talent within the organization?
Yes. So I think one of the biggest things is having an organization that focuses on L&D, learning and development. There's a quote, I don't know the exact words, but there's a quote that speaks about you don't want to develop your people because you think they'll leave.
They'll leave, yeah.
No, but imagine if they stayed. What then? So do you want to stay with mediocre people? Or would you rather develop your people to become the people that can carry the business? So L&D is everything. A lot of times people that work even in learning and development feel a little bit undermined because they think their thing is not such a big thing. They're teachers. But no one makes it in life without some form of teaching. And even when you have qualifications, we all have developmental areas. Even me, sometimes I don't think I have, but we all have serious developmental areas. And when you have an environment that makes it easy and conducive for you to be able to speak up and say, hey, yes, I know I'm a CA and I have 5 years post experience and I know I'm a manager, but I usually struggle with conflict management. Somebody, HR, is somebody help me?
Is there somebody that can teach me to deal with this thing? Okay.
Would send me somewhere where I can learn to deal with this thing. So always seeing and also looking for gaps. So some people might not see their own gaps, right? So even being in HR, you need to watch out for people's blind spots that, oh my God, you seem like you're always late for meetings. Is there something going on? Let's do a time management course because this thing is going to make clients walk away, right?
Have you heard that there are people that are not as talented, but they're effective communicators? And by what I mean by talented, I mean they don't have the technical skills that other people might have. 100%. But because they're effective communicators, they are confident, they've articulated the value more than those who do not have the communication but have got the technical skills. So is it true that those people that know how to communicate, although they might be less talented, are actually making more money than the talented people that cannot communicate?
Yes. And I will humbly say I'm one of those. I'm in HR. I have no HR qualification. I have no HR experience that I can say I had HR experience somewhere. But I was able to cut the gap short.
Yeah, but you're beautiful. People will say it's pretty privileged.
No, my boss is a black female.
Yeah.
And you know how it can be with females. She needed to trust that this one can do the job. So it really came from that. It was...
There's no such a thing, pretty privilege in corporate.
In corporate, I don't know. I think...
I will ask it. We said, remember earlier on we talked about we hire sometimes people that we like.
Yes.
That someone can come in and you can look at them and be like, nah, I don't like this guy, but he's qualified.
Yes.
Or you can look at him and say, I like this guy, but he's not qualified, but I'm willing to teach him.
True.
And likability sometimes does not relate to appearance. Maybe somebody looks good and you like them.
They need to look good and back it though. A lot of times when you're beautiful, people think you're dumb, just by the way. With my hair looking like this, if I wasn't wearing a suit, people might have thought I'm not so intelligent.
Okay.
And if I wasn't wearing glasses as well. So there's beautiful, where you're just beautiful and they don't think that you have anything more than that to offer. But then there's, are you beautiful with a bit of substance? You don't have to have a lot. You don't have to lot. Other people have to have a lot. You just have to have a little bit of substance in order to be able to then, like you said, have that privilege and advantage work for you. But you're right. I want to go back to your point of people that can communicate can usually speak themselves into things that people that are talented cannot speak themselves into.
Okay. Can you expand on that?
Yes. You can speak yourself into a role because you know how to say to someone, I have the ability to learn, I am flexible. And another person, they have all the experience, but they can't even say that they have that. So now the person that looks like they're willing to learn and is open and all of that is better.
doesn't that relate to sales as well? I mean, articulating the value of the thing.
We are selling ourselves
selling yourself. Yeah.
What you're doing now, you're selling yourself to YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm selling myself.
I think I'm a very good salesman.
Well done.
So it goes back to being able, and maybe perhaps, right? How then do individuals learn to sell themselves to other people? Because, I mean, if one is coming to an interview or one is going into a presentation, basically they need to be articulating what their value is.
Yes.
But how does one articulate their value if the one doesn't even understand what their value is?
That's exactly it.
And then if they understand the value, how then do they articulate the value if they've never taken time to develop the ability to speak properly so that the value can be articulated?
Then you need to call me. But if you had to do it in your own time, you need to start asking yourself some questions. When I joined this organization, what wasn't there and what have I put in place? That's value that you've added. Some people think value is when they give you a certificate and they tell you, well, you are the employee of the year. No, that's not value. Sometimes people do that because they have to do it in the organization and people vote for that. It's not even the real facts. You know that I walked into this company. When I look at our finances, we were not in this position. Now our net profit is sitting at 60% since I came in. That's the value that you've added. And what are the things that you've done? I've cut some costs here. I've removed the supplier and changed that one. Those are the things that you should now be able to go first, put them down on paper. The next thing, hear yourself say it. And what I mean by that, again, goes back to the record yourself. I think when we do these social media videos, people don't even know the value of them. The value is that we learn to hear what sounds right and what sounds wrong. But people aren't willing to take the time to hear what doesn't sound right. Because I can go and say to people, oh, so the net profit, it actually went up a bit, I don't know how, but somehow when I was saying, let me take this out. No, I need to go and say the net profit value went up a bit because I was able to cut costs. I started comparing invoices with different suppliers for us to make a better decision. And that's why I would think I can add value to your organization. But this thing of, I think I did this and that, but you're not sure, you need to go and practice to say it out loud. Hear yourself. Yeah.
So how then will one learn to balance that technical know-how and the soft skill part of it, which is the communication, the learning, development?
Yes. So your technical skills will be for you and you alone. But the moment you step into a room, soft skills only matter. The fact that your work is done on your laptop, that's beautiful. You submitted the document, that's beautiful. But now, when we're sitting here, you need to be able to tell us, how did you get to doing it? How does it add value to what we're doing? Because a person sitting in another division might think, the people in IT, they don't work. But it's because IT is not able to articulate what IT does to add value.
So you've probably seen some worst interviews. You were telling me about one. Now, where you've seen a candidate do extremely well and then mess it up within the interview. Can you give me 2 or 3 where you've...
I've seen, when you say worst, so there's one that comes to mind every time I hear worst, but I don't know if it was worst. It was the funniest interview of my life. I'll start with that one, then I'll go to the other one. There was a gentleman I was interviewing. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I asked him a question, technical. He couldn't answer, I guess, so he didn't expect it. And he was like, yo, that's son, yo. I was like, what's happening? What's going on here? And it's recorded. So afterwards, I still went and laughed my whole afternoon.
What are you for?
For the technical question. Kids, don't do that at home. Please don't do that in your interviews. When you get a question you don't know, just cool down.
Oh, so he was nervous.
He was like, yo. And the whole body language spoke more than anything. He could have said, yo. Instead, he had to put his hands on his head. He had to do a whole movie there for me. And I couldn't stop laughing. Because now I had to hold my cool throughout this interview and I couldn't wait for it to finish because the tears were just ready with laughter. But that's that for me is, I'll never forget that one. He takes the cup. Smart boy, just very dramatic. And I was like, these are small things we need to learn. It's just body language. Your body speaks before you even open your mouth. And then there was another gentleman, brilliant guy. I say brilliant because he's like top in terms of his technical. He was just speaking the way that you want to hear your future CA speaking. And wow, I think because when you interview with someone, you can sense when you think, oh, the HR likes me. Then you got comfortable. And our gentleman now starts using cuss words during the interview. And this is the last 5 questions or so. And I was thinking, what just happened here? What a waste of time. I was sitting in that interview already sending messages on the side on Teams saying, I'm canceling an interview because I'm being sworn at in this interview. Not at me, but the fact that he's swearing about what he wants to say was stupid.
Okay, does that speak to etiquette?
It's etiquette.
Etiquette in the workplace.
It's respect as well, because you don't swear when you think you're speaking to someone that can change your life. You really behave. Think about it. When you met to, I don't know, your mentor, someone that you know, this person can have a big impact on my life.
Yeah.
Were you loose? Were you just like, yeah? No, you were a bit reserved until you formulated that relationship and got there. But I just met you. Not your friend.
And maybe that can be something a lot of people can learn, because the environments, you get into an environment, maybe smoking might be allowed, but the people that don't like smoking, so it's an unwritten rule. We don't do smoking here. And some environments you get in, you said read the room, people don't swear.
Yes.
You come in and you use F words, but the people are like...
And when I asked him to cut, that was it. He said to me, no, I thought your culture was more relaxed, ma'am.
The culture is relaxed.
I was like, relaxed we are, but we're not unprofessional. And this is recorded. Your interview will get audited. As much as they trust me to do my work, they have to spot check here and there, because my rating will have an impact.
Sure. So in situations where you are in corporate, obviously you'll know some of the challenges that are faced when it comes to talent management or HR. What are the challenges that you've seen, and how can organizations overcome them?
I think some of the challenges that organizations have is at times they don't position themselves well enough to attract the best. And I say this because we all think, people are desperate for jobs. But the best people are usually not desperate. The best people are wanted. Companies want them. Their companies don't want to let go of them. So if you want to attract the best talent, you also need to position yourself as a company worth moving to. You really need to be able to lure people in with things that are worthwhile and what matters to them. So one of the things that I've seen are trends now in the HR space is not to reward people the same, but to reward people according to what motivates them.
Okay.
So if you are motivated by going on holiday, what I would do is I'd give you a contract with more leave days instead of more money. If you are motivated by more money, what I'd say is for every additional hour that you work, you get more money. So asking people what really motivates them in their careers. For other people, it's impact. So giving you an opportunity to be able to train younger people. And that matters more for you than a person telling you you're going to have a lot of leave days and you're thinking, to do what? I want to impact people in the organization. So to really start being flexible with how we cater, especially for people that are good talent, and saying some things are adjustable because this is what's going to motivate this guy to leave that company to join us. Yeah.
So with the rise of remote work and digital communication, how has the landscape of HR and talent management actually fared or changed?
It's changed.
So because I mean, before COVID, there was a completely different work environment. Now, after COVID, I know a lot of people that work, it's, what do they call it?
Hybrid.
Yes, hybrid. 3 days at home, 2 days at work.
Yes, so it's changed a lot. I think it's a good change as well as a bad change. So I say good because now Palesa can work from anywhere. I can sit in Dubai as long as I deliver, on my work in South Africa. But I think the bad side of it is that we're losing a little bit of that personal touch. And the personal touch comes from us seeing people. People feed off of energies. You've heard people say you have to be in the room to catch it.
Learning by osmosis. In an environment.
Those things, right?
Yeah.
And that's also where I think people could learn better from a person that they're looking up to, like a mentor, when you can see your mentor walking in the corridors and how the person interacts with other people. But if you're only seeing him in that Zoom call at that moment, in those 20 minutes, you do not really know what makes this person what they are. You're only getting to hear what they're saying, but you're not seeing how they move. And I think we learn better from each other when we can see each other. And also there's better connection. So on Zoom, people are sitting there, cameras are off. Then I don't necessarily know what's really going on in the background. Is Palesa sitting there and
Is she even there?
Is she there? Yeah, that's true. Is she even there? Right? So that would be the challenges that I've seen. But I think it's good with the sense of flexibility. Flexibility meaning I can now work for companies that aren't necessarily in South Africa from my home, which is great. It opens up the world for all of us. Yeah.
Do you have stories from unforgettable speakers that you are particularly proud of?
I like this question because there are too many, but I always have those that I can say I would pick. When I say there are too many, it's because I found it very hard to ever meet someone for a period of time and not have an impact, right? Not see what has happened in their life since they met me, because what I teach is something that people want. And when they want it, they're willing to put effort in. And then they get the results. It's just like that. If you want something, you'll see the results. But I've had a specific instance with a young lady that is also in the finance space, and she said after every second word. When I met her, I was like, I'm a speaking coach, but this one, Lord, hi, Jesus.
She said after every.
She said like every single time. Witness, I was like, this one, God.
But isn't that what a lot of people say when they talk now?
But it's a filler word that she was doing specifically because she's nervous.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, how are we going to help this girl? I don't know if I can even help her. But her transformation was so big that the group that was training with her even asked her, who are you? There's no way you're the girl that's been in this class for the past 6 weeks, because it changed from like week 7, where she was just different. And it was because she was really willing to go and practice some of the things that I told her to, not just with me, but with her husband after work. And I said, that's exactly why she changed, because she wanted the change. And even for her now, her testimony is what carries her in her corporate career. She says, now people take me seriously because I don't look like I'm always thinking and I'm not sure. Because that's what creates. It makes it seem like when someone asks you, should we do this tomorrow? Yes. What are you saying? Yes or no? Like, you're not saying, yes, do it tomorrow by 2. That is the difference. With that, it's unnecessary. It creates doubt in the person listening, not in you at times, but in the person that's listening at you is thinking, no, I think she wasn't sure. Let's do it for Thursday.
Right. So how do you make sure or teach your speakers then to leave a lasting impression or a lasting impact on their audience?
Yes.
Could be the same
100%.
How do you make sure?
How I teach you to do that is to teach you to connect with people and not to try and impress them.
Don't connect, impress.
No, impress, don't connect. No, I'm kidding, you're right. Connect.
Which one is it? Do I impress them? Do I connect with them?
You connect, you don't impress, right? Then I say why.
Why?
When someone impresses, what do we do? we clap for them. When someone connects, what do? We chase after them.
Yeah, there's a connection. There's there could be a possible relationship, whether for business.
100%. So not to go in there looking to show people that I think I'm smart or I sound smart, but to show people that I see them and I know why they're here and I'm here to give them something to take home. Simple. I'm not here to show them I'm fancy. I'm here to show them that I see them and I have something for them to take home.
Okay, so what advice do you have for HR professionals that are looking to strengthen their presence through public speaking? Their leadership presence, that is. And the question, like I said, it's not limited to HR. It can go across the board.
Yes.
So for people who want to be leaders and want to strengthen their leadership.
Yes, I think one of the things you can do is go and look at people that are great speakers and learn from them. In my personal opinion, like I've mentioned to you before, is that I think pastors are some of the best speakers in the world. And my reason is pastors are speaking to serve. They are not usually speaking for the sake of themselves. They're speaking to serve to an audience that needs to take the message and go do something about the message. Where sometimes people, when we're speaking in corporate or wherever we're speaking I'm making an announcement, I am informing them, but I'm not serving them. I'm not making sure they're leaving with something that they can go and use. So we're leaving people almost with nothing, but I've said something and I don't really care whether you use it or not. But when you have the pastor's mentality of, I'm going to make sure this message lands, no matter what it is that I need to do. They go theatrical and all of the things that they need to do to make the people get it. People leave there knowing what scripture it was for the day and all of those things. They leave with notes. Why? Because the person spoke to them like the person cares about them and the person cares about the fact that they're going to do something about this. So yes, that's where it starts. Leading like you want people to do something with the information that you're sharing and not to speak for the sake of it. Right now, I'm hoping someone is making notes. I'm hoping someone is learning from this conversation and they're not taking it as just another info session that, you could have scrolled past a long time ago.
Yeah. And then what about comedians? They're always speaking publicly.
Yes.
What do you think about how they deliver?
I love comedians because comedians remind us of the things that we think about. They're bold enough to say the things that people think and are afraid to say. So they are almost the voice to the brains that we know we have. There are things that we laugh at in our hearts and we're like, but they'll say it and we're like, yo, that's so true. Right? So comedians really reveal the truth. And when people reveal the truth to us, we are so drawn to that. And that's why it's also important when you're speaking, man, have a bit of humor. It's not a bad thing to learn how to tell a joke or two. It's to learn. And I say to learn because it's not easy. I've tried being funny. It's not funny. I'm not funny. So it's hard work.
Right. So in terms of trends that you see shaping the future of HR and talent development, especially in the context of communications.
Yes.
What are the trends that you see?
I'm starting to see that personal branding outside of your normal CV matters.
What's personal branding?
No, personal branding.
Somebody could be watching and they're thinking, but this lady's saying personal branding. I need to get my weave on. I need to get my glasses on. I need to get my jacket on. When you say personal branding outside of the normal employee, what does it mean to an individual that's sitting at home watching this?
So my personal brand is who I am, whether I am sitting in the studio or at home or on my social page. It's the complete me. I can't really run from my personal brand. It follows you wherever you go. It's just like your communication skills, by the way. So that's why it plays such a big role when it comes to personal branding. Does who I say I am and how I live correspond. It's almost like a sense of integrity because it's not a persona. We're not talking about the other you that you become. That's part of you, but that's not the whole you. And you cannot pretend that that's your personal brand. Your personal brand is the whole, zonke bonke, all of you. So personal brand means when people look within the HR and the talent space is that now I don't just go and look at a person's CV and their LinkedIn profile. I Google them. And I see, oh, on Instagram, oh, on TikTok, 700 million followers. Who is this guy? So people don't realize that everything they're doing matters now because we have these personas in the air, and I say in the air in the internet, that actually speak sometimes on your behalf before you've entered an interview room. And you thinking, as you saw on my CV, as I saw on your TikTok. So
is that a big thing? Is that a thing?
It becomes a thing because now even in HR policies, we have to incorporate social media as one of the things that you need to be careful of. I've seen people being so careful that they even say I saw this other day actually on someone's bio, my opinions are not the opinions of the company that I work for. And I thought, I don't have enough space in my bio to put that in. Because I would put in that same sentence. Because she was just saying that my opinions and the things that I talk about on my social media, please don't take it back and say where I work. That's what we say. That's not what we say. That's what I say. So T's and C's start to apply now with every move that you make because people don't want to hire trouble. And trouble doesn't always come in the form of technical skills. It comes in the form of speaking and how you're presenting us out there.
How can we use them to our advantage? Those platforms where we are, be it social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere where we have an online presence.
That's your networking toolkit. If you want to start making friends in places that you never thought you could make friends, social media is that place. It's made the world so small. You can work in the US now without having to really go and apply through the channels that people apply through on LinkedIn. You can DM someone, you can comment on their post. So it's made the world so small that networking for a job no longer has to be done the way it used to be done, where you go to the conference. No, you don't have to pitch to the conference. Go to the live. Pitch on the person's live. Say something there that will make the person ask, who's this? This person keeps saying they want to work for me. I wonder who this is. I want to work for you because your company is, After that, you go and look at the person's profile and you're like, I've been looking for a content creator. That's social media. Powerful, but dangerous.
Yeah. And then for unforgettable speakers, how are you adapting to these trends that we are discussing?
Oh, no.
And what's the next thing?
Yeah, no. So unforgettable speakers is known on social media more than it's known on any street, corner, or corridor. The corridors that it's known on is on social media, as well as my trainings are done virtually. So I train people on Zoom, which means I've made the world small for myself. And that's how I've adapted to the trend. And I've also realized that our most impactful speakers aren't necessarily the people that are filling stadiums anymore. It's actually the people that are influencing us on social media. They are the ones that we are listening to more now than buying a ticket and going somewhere to go and watch someone. That happens 4 or 5 times a year, right? Like it doesn't happen every day, but social media happens every single day. People are filling stadiums on social media every day. So that's what I've used as navigating those spaces, because many people want to get on social media, but they're afraid to. You won't believe it. I'm always like, what do you mean? You just take the phone, you press red, and they're like, no, it's not that easy, because it isn't. It becomes easier once you keep doing it. And then also for me personally, though, because I've been doing it this way around, I also know the value, though, of being in the room. And that's why I'm moving to doing a bit more in-person workshops. Going forward, I'll definitely be training people more in person, teaching people how to hold a microphone on a stage, how to make eye contact when your audience is sitting a bit further. Those things matter as well, because like we said, the energies matter. Yeah.
And then how do you balance your roles as public speaking coach,
You can just say
HR expert, talent acquisition expert, entrepreneur? There's no balance.
There's no balance.
Balance does not exist.
It does not exist.
There's no balance. What are you saying?
There's no balance. There's no balance. I don't want to lie to you. I'm sitting here today because I've prioritized this today. There are many other things that I could have tried to make equally important and I would have failed. So it's really about every day when I plan for the next day, what is most important for tomorrow? And when I'm here, being present so that I don't feel guilty for the fact that I'm not answering a WhatsApp message right now.
Sure.
So being present, knowing that I'm giving this my all so that tomorrow when I focus on something else, I can give it my all. That's it. I don't have balance. My colleagues, when they see my social media, they're like, who are you? And I'm like, yes, I am 7 people. But when I'm here, you won't know that I have a business because it's not your business to know that. We are here to work. We are HRing. Let's do it well. When we clock off here, I'm public speaking and I'm going to go do that well as well.
So what drives you to continue to grow then in these fields that are diverse?
So the continuation is the fact that they are interconnected. I sit at work and I see public speaking problems every day. I sit in public speaking conversations and I see HR problems every day. So I cannot really separate the two, even though ideally I have a vision and a plan that I wouldn't want to share just publicly yet, but there's a vision and a plan with all of this. There's a reason I'm still in HR. I'm not there for nothing.
For the season.
It's the reason for the season. and I'm holding on to it hard because there's so much I want to learn. There's a lot I want to learn and also impart, not just learn.
Okay. So that camera that you're looking at is for you. And I want you to talk to that young boy or young girl that's looking to build their career.
Mm-hmm.
And that's looking to place themselves in a position where they are literally a powerhouse one day, developing their communication skill for them to maneuver in the world. What advice do you have for that young Palesa, that young witness, that young Nico?
Yeah, so my advice would be don't look only to your environment to determine how you see the world. Because a lot of times we are big fish in a small pond. But go onto the internet and start looking for people that are doing things that are bigger than what you could have ever imagined. Because that will open up your viewpoint of the world. And you'll start to see even people your age, as young as you are, doing spectacular things. And that already should change the way you do things. And always thinking about yourself as a unique person, a unique skill. You are unique. And not losing that, because that's what will make you different from any other Palesa. When I say Palesa, it's Palesa Dibakwane though, the public speaking coach, HR professional, but who are you? And finding yourself, loving yourself, honoring yourself in that space is what will make you excellent one day. So let's not blame environments. It's also us not looking for things outside of our environments to help us in our environments. And that's my advice to them.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Oh no, I don't have one. I think my favorite quote is my own vision. And that is speaking to change mindsets, one conversation at a time.
Wow. Speaking to change mindsets, one conversation at a time. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure being here.
Coming through.
It was a pleasure. I appreciate you and your people as well, your tribe. And thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for adding value to our community. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, remember to click on that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Remember, the more people that we have subscribed to the channel, then the easier it is for us to get guests like this that are going to come and add value to the community. From me and my team broadcasting from Johannesburg, from the QGI Consulting offices, it's more than just money. See you in the next episode. Ciao, ciao.